Well, Michael, a fifth championship win in a row at the weekend. Just wondered what the thoughts were a couple of days on from the victory over Birmingham.
Yeah, we've kind of moved on really already. We've obviously got a big game tomorrow, but good result. Tricky game, and it's, as I said before, about being a new manager and tough to prepare for. A natural bounce and freshness and enthusiasm with a new manager going in, especially someone of the calibre of Wayne. And so we knew it was going to be a tough game, but I thought the boys played really well and created a lot of chances. And we had to leave it late in the end, but it was worth the wait. So delighted. The boys are doing well at the moment. Looking forward to the game tomorrow.
In terms of the game itself, I know Neil Maddison, our expert summariser, names Matt Crooks as his man of the match. He's been a player who's really kind of stepped up in recent weeks after maybe struggling a little bit for starting positions last season. Is he the perfect example to those players kind of on the fringe of things?
Big player for us, Crooksy. He's a big player, really important part of the squad, and his presence, his experience, his how he is as a person, his attitude, his character. He plays a big part around the group, and his performances have been fantastic. His impact on the games has been big. Obviously scoring some goals, creating some goals, and his general play has been fantastic, and he's linked up really well with Izzy down the right hand side. Gives us so much out of possession in terms of his work rate and his presence. So delighted for him to see him playing so well.
One very sad thing to come out of the weekend, of course, was the news that filtered through at half-time about Sir Bobby Charlton and his death. I just wondered if you could maybe expand on some of your personal memories of meeting Sir Bobby and your time at Manchester United.
Yeah, as I said, after the game, I used to see him every game in the changing rooms. He'd come in after the game and have a quick chat and show his support mainly, really, and whatever the result, he was always there, and he was showed that he cared so much. He loved the club, loved the players, knew what it meant obviously to play for Manchester United, knew what it meant to be involved in the club, and he, as I said after the game, he epitomised everything Manchester United is all about: the family, the history, the traditions, looking after each other, and for everything that he had been through, in his lifetime, not just on the pitch but off the pitch with Munich and coming through that, and having the career that he had, living the life that he had, and having the support and the impact and presence around the club, really, that rubbed off for such a long time. So it was really sad news, as I said after the game. Icon of football, world football.
And a real inspiration, I guess, to people from our part of the world too.
Yeah, of course. Being from the northeast and from a working class background and going on to achieve incredible things. Special person, he's obviously very talented as a footballer, and arguably the best player to come out of this country, and he's definitely right up there. But in terms of as a person and his character and his personality and his caring side, and that shone through just as much as anything for me.
And some very sad news to come out of the club today as well. In the former player Bill Gates has passed away. Him and his family have done a lot of work on the kind of links between dementia and heading a ball and the effects that can have in later years. So very sad news to hear that.
Yeah, sad, so sad. Of course, fully aware, and I heard the news myself. So on behalf of myself, the players and everyone at the football club, I pass on our condolences and obviously our thoughts with Bill's friends and family at this time.
Back to things on the pitch, and it's a run of games now where you've managed to keep 3 clean sheets, and Seny Dieng is a player who obviously came in the summer, been spoken about a little bit, but he just seems to have slotted in seamlessly from the outside looking in.
Yeah, he's been a really calm and influence. I think he's quite laid back naturally as a character, and but that doesn't take away from the other side of him in terms of the control and the calmness and how that can rub off on the back four and rubs off on the team. And that's obviously with the ball. He's a big part of what we do and has an influence on on us attacking from the back really, and he's made some big saves as well at certain times in certain games. He's made some really big saves. Made one. He didn't have a lot to do on Saturday, but he made one early on, and goes unnoticed at times. But of course, he's had a big impact, and clean sheets are vital for us to be successful. You know, to be able to get to where we want to get to. Clean sheets, defending, and having to score one goal to win a game. You know, is a lot easier at times. Football's not easy, but it's a lot easier when you only have to score one if you defend well as a team.
And it surprised me actually when I looked this up, but it's actually a year tomorrow that you'll have since you took over as head coach. I just wondered your thoughts on that year as a whole, because it seems to have been a whirlwind, and then also feels a little bit like a long time as well. Yeah,
it's flown by. I think it has gone quick. We've obviously gone through a fair bit since I arrived, and had some good times, had a couple of disappointments, and that's football. You know, that's football. But I loved every minute of it, and love being here. Love working with the group and the players, and being at this club. So it's flown by. Hopefully, there's a lot more to come.
I wondered whether that home victory over Norwich towards the back end of last season would be one of your highlights of your time so far, because it was probably one of the most clinical performances that many Borough fans have seen, full stop.
Yeah, it was a strange game actually. I don't think we played particularly great throughout the game. We were clinical, and we scored goals, which is obviously important. But in terms of our overall performance, we were pretty good. It was one of them nights where a lot of things went for us, and we finished well and created chances and scored. But it is one of them. It was a moment. We had some good moments, and we have had some good moments over the period I've been here, and we need to try and create some more of them, you know, and good performances, good results, and that's obviously up to us.
Wondered your thoughts on Norwich so far. They seem to have had some excellent performances and some not so excellent performances, but it seems to be a bit of a hallmark of the Championship, that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's I don't think you can almost judge. I won't judge Norwich on the results. I think we judge them as what they're capable of doing, how they're actually playing as well. And reminds me a little bit like us when we were finding it more difficult to get results, but performances were there largely. And watching them over the last few weeks, very similar, very dangerous, very good with the ball, good going forward and create a lot of chances. Got some really good players, so you got to be really good to beat them, and so we're well aware of that. Obviously, the run is the run, and results wise, but we're not looking at that at all. I think we know it'll be a tough game, and we've got to be at our best to get the result we want.
And it's the first of a number of very long trips coming up over the next couple of weeks. Are you going to have to kind of manage your squad and kind of use as many players as you can over this period?
It's pretty normal, to be honest. You know, we're fortunate enough and very lucky enough to be able to fly to some away games. So it's is on the map. It's a long way, and for the supporters travelling, it's a hell of a long way, and we appreciate that. For the players, as I say, unfortunately, we're able to fly in and out to most of the games. So the distance is kind of taken away, you know, we'll probably spoil a little bit. But yeah, nevertheless, there's a cluster of games that we've got to manage. Some injuries, and we've had illnesses, and you know, we're not at full strength as a group in terms of numbers, so we'll manage that. But hey, it's why we're here, to play games and to be involved in cup competitions, you know, a week down the line. It's fantastic.
And just finally, you touched upon it a little bit there. How is the squad looking? Obviously, Tommy Smith taking off at the weekend, and one or two others as well that have been out of the picture in recent weeks. Yeah,
we're kind of counting up the bodies, if I'm honest, at the moment, and giving players as long as they can to recover and find out who's fit and who's not going to tomorrow. So that's the nature of it, you know. That's why we wanted the squad that we assembled, and the strength and numbers, because we know over a period of time everyone's going to play a huge part, and it comes around. I've said it before, sat here, about you feel like you haven't played or you're out of the team a little bit, but it certainly comes around quick, and the boys keep themselves ready and train well, and that's part of it. So I've got no problems disappointed with the injuries if there's injuries or illnesses or whatever there is. But listen, it's an opportunity for somebody else, and we'll make the most of it.
Thanks very much. Good luck.
Just on the injury front, Michael, Darren Riley, who missed out on the weekend, are they any closer for tomorrow? No. Is that both out? Yeah, spot. Thanks. Moving on, something you touched on at the weekend was the impact that the subs had when they came on, and that's been a theme over quite a couple of games recently. And I guess that speaks of the hunger and the mentality in the squad at the moment. Everybody wanting to make an impact.
Yeah, it's vital for us. I don't think we can take that for granted, because it's not easy to do when you're not starting a game or you've not started for a week or two to have that, to keep that energy, to keep that kind of willingness to make that big impact, and so I don't take that for granted. I think that I said to you, I say it every single week I sit here about how much I appreciate that and how much the boys give to be part of the group and work for each other. And sometimes that's support from the bench, sometimes that's support from the stands, support from training, and then obviously support on the pitch and sacrificing for each other. And they've all played such a big part, and they will do. And it's made a big difference for us over the last few weeks, and we need to keep that up. We need to keep feeding off that, and it'll be different roles for different players at different times, and that's what we need to move forward.
Yeah, something you've said a lot is that the players not in the team are arguably as important, if not more important, than the players in the team, because they set the kind of culture and everything. I mean, is that something you've had to do to kind of make that a thing at Middlesbrough? Is that something that the players have kind of led themselves?
I think it's the players. I think it's credit to them as a group, how they look after each other, how they treat each other, how they behave, and how they support each other. And ultimately, yeah, of course, as staff, we kind of help guide them and lead it to a certain point, but they've got to want to do it. They've got to want to get on with. Don't necessarily have to be best friends and hang out and look after each other, that side of things, but it certainly is I think they understand if you want to be successful, it's a team, it's a squad. You can't do it on your own, and so that's why there's such a pleasure to kind of lead, really, because they give that and an awful lot more.
Yeah, and just on the 1 year anniversary for yourself, obviously I know you'll judge a lot on kind of progress and always wanting to move forward. I mean, from the day you walked in to now, on and off the pitch, how would you assess the progress that's being made?
I think the only way assessing it is by what happens on the pitch in terms of where you end up, really. I feel like we've made progress in terms of how we play the game, what's expected. We've been pretty consistent with that. I think as a group, the behaviours and the positivity and the connection with the fans is grown no end since I've been here, which is good to see. But it does come down to results, and it's the end of the season. Last season we had a good season from where we were, and then we didn't quite finish it off. This season's a whole new season, and we'll see how we get at the end. Like I said, that first month, that first 6 weeks, you could assess it then. You can assess it 6 weeks later, and you could have a whole new thing. It's the end of the season that really matters. Yeah,
and obviously for you, it's your first full-time role in management. In terms of any kind of expectation, has it thrown up things that were unexpected? Have you learned much about yourself, about the job in those 12 months?
Hasn't really thrown up anything I wouldn't expect. I think being around the game a long time to know it's full of ups and downs, and being in the role, obviously there's slightly different challenges at certain times. Leaving players out the team or telling them they're not playing this week is always the toughest part, especially when they've played well and they're a good character and everything's good about them. That it's not easy to almost sometimes don't have a real clear reason why. You got to pick a team, and that's always the hardest part for me. But yeah, it is what it is. You got to deal with it. That's part of the challenges, and I've loved it. I've loved it. I've loved every minute of it.